How do I get down?
Everything is just spectacular. This is just really hard. And I just broke down a lot. I should not have done that. The longest cross-country section we have, and it's kind of notorious for being difficult to navigate. There's actually not any water. Look, there's a note. Holy shit. Just another day. The Hayduke trying to kill me. So I'm currently in the red benches area after Hite, and it's notorious for, it's like the longest cross-country section we have, and it's kind of notorious for being difficult to navigate because it's just like right now I've been in a wash drainage for a little bit, winding around, and you just really can't tell the best way to go. Obviously I have tracks, GPS tracks. Well, I'm sitting in my tent, trying to see if you can see this sunset behind me. I picked a really epic spot. Still, I guess technically in the red benches, but pretty close to Fiddler Cove Canyon, I believe, which would be just over there. And like the Colorado River is back there as well. Update about yesterday. So basically, yeah, Forest Service road walking, and then we came upon a cyclist. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before earlier, and he said that he was camped a little bit later on, and so we ended up running into him and the other people he was with in their camper van, and they offered to give us a ride. They ended up just taking us all the way to Hanksville, which was incredible because that's like 40 plus miles, 50 minutes or so, almost an hour drive. So Wolverine and I went to eat at the burrito place and found another Hayduker there, Adrian, and we all had a nice meal, and the burrito was excellent, and got to do laundry and take a shower, and then we went out to eat with Adrian again for dinner at the Burger Shack, and like literally I had too much food and I started feeling sick again, and I'm like, oh man, that feeling where, you go to town and you eat so much and then you just feel sick. So I don't love that, so I have to pace myself. And then and just was able to kind of take care of everything I needed to do. So my parents are going to mail my other tent because I'm still missing my tent poles, and I'm using my hiking poles to set it up, which is adequate, but it's not great. It's not ideal. And when I have to use the rain fly, which I usually like to use a rain fly because it keeps me warmer and for privacy, it just like lays on top, and so it ends up condensating inside, and then my bag gets wet, and so it's just not great, and I don't want to have to deal with this for another month and a half. So I had contacted Big Agnes to see if they had poles, because this is a pretty old tent, and they said that they did, but I wasn't able to contact them, so I might end up having them send it to Tropic, and then when I get to Tropic, maybe I'll have to send the other tent back and just swap it out, because basically I didn't want to take the newer tent that my parents are now going to send me, because it's a little bit heavier and it's nicer, and I don't want to ruin it because this one's older and I wouldn't feel as bad if it got messed up, because you know the gear is getting worn out on this trail. So they're also sending me a water filter that I need. So today I hitched back to Hite to start hiking, and that took a long time. That took like 2.5 hours, and I was trying to hitch with Adrian, and he was going back to Poison Spring, and I had to go further, so we ended up having to split up because someone wasn't going as far. But eventually I got a ride, so super grateful for that. But it wasn't able to start hiking until just before noon, and you know, went till 7 and got here. So yeah, so I expect to get back to the crossing of Highway 95 at Poison Spring on Tuesday, and then hitch back into Hanksville, which will be a much shorter hitch. It's only 16 miles, I believe. And then I have a reservation at the motel that night, and then hopefully the package will come Wednesday morning. This stretch, you know, is not without its issues as well. So there's actually not any water for, I believe, like 29 miles. And so Adrian, who had just done the section, like we were going through everything, you know, that I needed to know, and he told me how to do this bypass to get around this chimney climb. So I did that, and then he told me this bypass in Hatch Canyon to do instead of the Dirty Devil River that you have to cross. So I'll have to decide if I'm going to do that tomorrow. But yeah, basically I had to carry I'm carrying 5 liters of water, and then like 2 Gatorade bottles. So that should, I know I don't drink that much water, so that should last me. All right, that's my update. I hope you enjoy the sunset behind me. It's such an awesome spot here, and like literally probably nobody within, 20 miles of me. Made it to the bottom of Fiddler Cove Canyon. Well, this morning I finished the red benches and dropped down into Fiddler Cove Canyon. Guidebook says that there's only one way to get down. So it was pretty steep. I actually slipped a little bit, but luckily it wasn't like, there wasn't a drop off there. So it's a bit of a challenge. And then dropped down to the bottom, and then now I'm doing this alternate down Hatch Canyon instead of going down the Dirty Devil River. A lot of people don't like that river. It's also high right now, so the river is high, and people say that there's like quicksand and poison ivy and blah 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 blah. But I did hear someone said that they did it and it was fine. They just had to cross the river about 12 times, but it was only like knee deep. And in just a little bit, I'll have to scramble out And hopefully I can find the way easy enough. That will probably be the most difficult part, is trying to scramble out of the canyon. So till then, it's been really lovely, and being able to walk in the shade, it feels cooler. Yeah, it's been pretty nice. That's the Dirty Devil River that I bypassed by going into Hatch Canyon, and a steep, gnarly ascent out of Hatch Canyon. But now I am on this nice dirt road. I just spotted a kayaker down there. Cool. Maybe I'll run into him when I cross the river down here. Well, I crossed the Dirty Devil River back there. Super, you know, chocolatey, muddy. So it looked like it was going to be really deep, but it ended up only being probably just around my knee level. And now I am in Poison Spring Canyon, and there's this road, dirt road through it, I guess the whole way. So it's, you know, pretty easy walking. So I probably could get to the highway today, but I think I'm just gonna stop early. That way, you know, I have a motel reservation for tomorrow. My package probably won't get there until Wednesday anyway. So if I went into town now, it's like I just have to pay, you know, money to stay at the RV park, and I'd probably want to eat out, and you know, that adds up. So since I was just in town and I know I'm going to be in town the next day, I'm like, I'll just call it early and eat the food that I have. Hopefully this is the last night I have to put my tent up with the hiking poles. Remember, I lost my tent poles over a week ago now. So I'm getting the other tent mailed to me to Hanksville. We got some cows. It's always so funny to find them when you think you're in the middle of nowhere. This is Cash 22's car. Look, there's a note. HAYDUKE, look on the roof to see what we found. What? Oh, shut up! Those are my tent poles they found. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. That's so great. Wow. Thank you. I'm now, I believe, in Butler Wash, just a few miles to the highway where I'm gonna hitch into Hanksville. But I just came across Cash 22's car. You know, they and Why Not are shuttling their cars back and forth, and they were my tent poles that I lost the day we got into Canyonlands National Park on Easter Sunday, so over a week ago. What a surprise. It's pretty windy today. I'm having to put my head down and so I don't get sand all in my eyes and mouth. Also just passed a dead cow. Made it to Highway 95. It's 10:45. Let's see how long it takes to get a hitch. That's Mount Pennell. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that's Mount Ellen, I believe. And so I'm gonna go down in the middle through the Pennellen Pass tomorrow. Hopefully there's not too much snow. I know some people that just went through there a few days ago, so it has been done. Just spotted some elk. They're just staring at me right now. I'm going this way. All right, oh, there's a lot of elk. Holy shit. Wow, there's a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I see one buck with the antlers. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Wow. With that backdrop, holy shit. The last time I filmed, I had gotten to the road. So I only had to wait 30 minutes, which was pretty great actually. Only 2 cars passed going my direction, and the car I got, the third car, was actually coming down the road that I had hiked down. And then I heard from Why Not. She texted me saying that they were going to be in Hanksville that night. So they ended up getting into town just before 8. And so we went to the Burger Shack for dinner. And then I met them for breakfast at Duke's yesterday morning. And then I was waiting for, you know, my package, express mail package, that was going to have the tent that I needed. But since I got the poles back, I didn't need the tent anymore. And it had, you know, the water filter and other stuff too. But, so I was able to get it at 11, which was great. Not so great is how much it cost. It cost $137. Mailed Monday morning from Alabama. Express, got to Utah in this, you know, small town by 11 on Wednesday. So, and then the fact that I ended up not needing the tent. So they could have sent other stuff, would have been a lot less expensive. But I didn't know. And so I ended up mailing it right back with the other stuff. Why Not Catch 22 were hanging around before they headed out of town, and offered to give me a ride back to the trail. Got back on the trail near Little Egypt just before 1:30. So I had, you know, I'm having to bypass, well, I'm in the Henry Mountains, but I'm having to bypass the route goes over Mount Ellen, which is at 11,000 something feet. And for the major snow year, you know, that's impossible and everybody's bypassing it. So I had looked for a different bypass route and then checked again the Facebook group, and someone had said that they went down on these Jeep roads around to Pennellen Pass. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. They also said that there's supposed to be some free roaming bison up here, and that the Henrys were the last mapped mountains in the lower 48 because of the remoteness, I guess. So that's interesting. They're quite spectacular. Look at that. Getting pretty close to the pass, Pennellen Pass. But the snow has been sporadic, kind of like this, just in patches. And I've been able to just kind of walk on top, so I haven't even been sinking. And really, it's easier to walk in the snow than the mud. It's really deceiving. Made it to the pass. And not have to deal with snow anymore. At least till Bryce. Oh, such a relief. Here's the view on the other side. That's where I'm headed. Capitol Reef National Park. The water pocket fold. Holy shit, I just saw a bison. I looked up and it was running across the road. Holy shit. I gotta look up more. Oh man, I wonder if there's more. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Man, I recommend doing this route just for the wildlife. Finally made it to Swamp Canyon. Seems like this route was not very good. It was just like up and down, wrapping around, and it was just like, what was the point of this? I feel like it would have been quicker to get into the Swamp Canyon from a different way. So, but yeah, so now I'm gonna follow this all the way to Capitol Reef. I'll get into the park boundary and then cross the road and then up the Burr Trail. So we'll see how long it takes me, but I imagine I'll probably just get there tonight, get my cash, if it's still there. I still have a lot of food left. So I was gonna start doubling up, but then I was like, well, let me wait until I know my cash is there for, you know, because if it's not, then I'll need that extra food. Here we go. Leaving the canyon. It's one of the nicest exits I've had for a canyon. And straight ahead is the Burr Trail switchbacks. I wasn't totally sure, but I can see a car coming down it now, so now I know for sure that it's it in the red. So I got a bag of chips waiting for me there. Swamp Canyon there. Pennellen Pass right there. Was there yesterday. Isn't that nuts? It looks so far away. My cache, I have it waypointed. I'm trying to see if I can remember where I put it. So there's my cache with wrappers around. So, fuck. Well, the last hour or so has been pretty rough. I am in Capitol Reef. The Burr switchbacks was not too bad. Some folks stopped me along the way and chatted with me for a bit. And then I got to my cache, and you know, I started to see my ramen wrapper and some other wrappers, and then got there and could just see my bag exposed. And so, yeah, this is my fault. I did not bury it well. This was one that I didn't put in a plastic bin. I had put it in 2 Tyvek mailing envelopes and plastic bags. I had read where someone had done something similar, and you know, this is one of the remote places I didn't want to have to come back to. Anyway, I think also if I had just buried it deeper would have been better. It wasn't very deep, and I had put like a log on top of it. Anyway, so surprisingly, my bag of chips was fine. Obviously I had a gallon of water with it, fine. So all in all, like, I didn't lose everything, and then the fact that I still had quite a bit left over, I will get to my next cache just fine. I just won't have probably as much snacks as I would like. But I'll just eat an extra protein bar, because now I'll have like 2 a day, I guess. So that sucked. And then I walked toward like this area that I thought I heard some people at, and basically asked if they could take my trash for me, which now was sizable because it had the Tyvek envelopes and the plastic bags and all the food that got ruined. And then I put my old maps and other trash from this last stretch in it, and then the water jug. And so I asked them, you know, I was just like, hey, can you take my trash? And they were really nice. There were 2 groups of people there, or like 2 vehicles that are going to be camped there. And just briefly, you know, told them what I was doing. And then they, you know, I told them that animal got in my stuff. And then they offered me food, and I was like, you know, I'm good. They, you know, offered me a banana, and I was like, I actually have been really wanting a banana. And so then the other person gave me an apple, and then the other people gave me 2 bananas and some Oreos. And then I was like, okay, let me just get to a camp spot over here. And I was following this fucking alternate, and it leads me to like this slick rock that I can't get down. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I backtrack, and basically it's the end of the day, and I rush, and I just slid down the rock wall. And the weight of my pack now, because I've got all this water and stuff, I kept trying to like crawl across and go down at the same time. And then at a certain point, I just lost traction and just slid down, and like ripped my sleeves on both of my shirts and then my pants, and I've got a big scratch down my leg from where I rubbed it on the rock wall. So I just camped here, gonna eat some food, and tomorrow will be another day. Just another day. The HAYDUKE trying to kill me multiple times a day. You know, and I'm thinking the next cache, I did the same thing with the envelopes, and so now I'm worried. I'm worried about that one now as well. But that is the Hole in the Rock Road. That would be a really long hitch, an hour and a half down that road, 30 miles. But everybody's been saying that it's, even though it's pretty remote, that it's busy. And so I'm thinking that if my food, because at that point I won't have extras. So if my food is ruined then I'll have to go and get a hitch into Escalante. So we'll see. That should be 5 days from now, 4 or 5 days. We'll see how this goes. That's all tomorrow's problem. I just went through the deep spot. I love you. Where the fuck is the trail?
Bam!
Exhausted. My shoe is floating down